Sports Talk Show. Your host is here for the show tonight to interview our special guest. Show highlight the Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, boxing, tennis, golf, and racing. The Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show. Tune in for all the news and scores, reporting on the games and so much more. The Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show.
Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of the Alford Sports Talk Show. I'm Alan. I am so delighted to be here, and definitely it is fantastic to have you join us here. It is wonderful to be, I wouldn't say to be back in a way like in a bad way. It's just that, I didn't have my normal setup last time we was talking, and now I'm back here where the show is typically, in most cases, when we're not away. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Alford Sports Talk Show. So much to uncover, so much to pack, and definitely the nice thing is the live chat is available now. It is back. The live show is on, where you can go ahead and feel free to chime in. We even had a comment come in already. Does show. Let's see here. If anyone wants to make risk-free money from sports betting, hit me up. I've made over $40K in the last 3 months using a strategy called arbitrage betting. It guarantees profit no matter who wins. DM me on Discord, Sieber21, and I'll show you how it works. That is buyer beware. Anytime you're gambling, there is going to be some type of risk involved. I hate to say it like that, but yes, money, that's the thing about gambling, folks, is that when it comes to gambling, they don't want you to go ahead and lose all the time. What they really want you to do, ask anybody in Vegas, they want you to actually win in the beginning, get you feeling good, get your head all out there. And then that's when the losses will start to come. That's usually how they get you in gambling. Just telling you, we've had guests on our show who lost a lot of money. Not hating on the gambling game, but people in Vegas are not in business to lose money. They'll give you, like I said, reel you in by letting you win a couple of, and then you'll start thinking, okay, I got this. That is, they play right into your ego. And then you start gambling. Before you know it, you're gambling your whole house away, your cars, you're gambling notes, and you're always trying to recoup your losses. Well, reality is you can't recoup your losses. So buyer beware. I'm just going to say that when it comes to gambling. So having said that, man, I have a lot to unpack with you guys. I really appreciate you joining here on the Alford Sports Talk Show. And let me just start by just saying, I went ahead and for the first time, thanks to all of you, thanks to you guys, thanks to your support, thanks to your views, thanks to your comments, for the very first time in the Alford Sports Talk Show history, I was able to cover an NFL training camp, an NFL, I wouldn't say event, let me just say it like that, an NFL training camp where I have the NFL had to go through and give me a media pass and got an NFL credential and covered for the first time ever an NFL training camp. Okay, I did, however, reason why I have to say it that way is because I did cover a Tampa Bay Buccaneers event, but it wasn't what I did on Thursday, where I had a credential from the NFL, from the Bucs, and was able and approved to cover the training camp. Man, it was an outstanding event. It was something that, you really can't put it into words because it's like the hard work, the fruition came into play. And sometimes when you have trials and tribulations and setbacks, if you do like I tell you guys in when I made a keynote speech for the Lakeland Diamondbacks, don't get bitter, get better. Don't get bitter, get better. If things don't go your way, you don't get approved for an opportunity, don't get bitter, get better. How can I get better? How can I take better pictures? How can I get better content? How can I sound better? All of those attributes I went through, and it finally got me to that opportunity to be at the Bucs. And the reason why I say that is because I kind of felt like it like it was no kind of like sweat in a way because of the preparation I put into it and all of the other opportunities I had prior to it that I didn't take lightly. And I just kind of went, didn't want to, I definitely wanted to, definitely first and foremost, I look at it as anytime you get a credential is that you're a guest in somebody else's home. You're a guest in somebody else's home. So you always want to act accordingly, make sure they are happy that you were there. And I feel like that was mission accomplished. I'm going to go into a little bit of those details as to why I feel that way and why it was such, in my view, a successful event. Let me just pull up some of the questions I had. So how did it go? Let me see here. It went fantastic. It really did. It was a phenomenal event. It was something that wasn't easy for me to get the opportunity. I mean, it's the NFL, folks. Nothing comes easy. If you want to be a player, if you want to do business with the NFL, if you want to have media credentials, anything that has to deal with the NFL, I said it on my show before, it's the NFL and everybody else. It's the NFL and everybody else. So it's that's what you're dealing with. And it went fantastic. I put in a preparation. When I say put in a preparation, I made sure I woke up early, very early. I made sure I ate breakfast. If you don't eat, sometimes you're not yourself. Made sure I ate breakfast early. Made sure I left the house early so I could stop and get me a nice frappe by McDonald's just to make sure I'm alert, I'm awake, that they get the Bucs, the Tampa Bay Bucs, everyone I come in contact gets the best version of Allen, and that's what my goal was, and that's what I did. Made sure I greeted everyone, made sure I talked to everyone. It was my first rodeo there covering the event. It wasn't the first time I had been to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers, training camp, but it's the first time I covered the event. Covering the event and from a public standpoint and covering it from a media standpoint is totally different. There's certain places that you're allowed to go, certain places you're not allowed to go. I made sure before I got there too, I read all of the instructions, all of the details 2-3 times just to make sure I was on the same page. And it's good that you do those things in life, that you know all the details and that's the fine print. I know sometimes people like to read the fine print, but I had to read the fine print because I wanted to make sure I was not doing something at the NFL and the Bucs didn't want me to do just by not knowing. So I didn't want to be in that situation. Sometimes, folks, you got to read the fine print. I know some of us don't like to, but details matter. And I won't go into some of the rules that they had. That's confidential. But I will say it was a fantastic experience, and I felt like it was because of the preparation. I went right through it like it was another day at the office type of thing, and I got tested kind of early. One of the people that was there that maybe people didn't know was superstar power agent Drew Rosenhaus. He was there, and literally he was right behind me, like where this chair is. Imagine him being about a foot or two behind this chair. And my natural instinct from just doing interviews, getting contact was, hey, hey man, you want to do the interview? But I didn't do that. I actually did not go by my natural instinct. I didn't do that, even though I recognized him. He was literally right behind me. I had went and did the right thing and asked, proper channels, is okay if we go ahead and interview Drew. They asked, and he was there for a couple of players there, so he didn't do the interview. But the cool thing is he did the picture, and props to Drew Rosenhaus for doing the picture, because it's cool, because now you got a chance to see that he was actually in camp. He was there in the Tampa Bay Bucks camp. That is, he usually I see him a lot, and stop by Miami, because Tyreek Hill is one of his clients, and he's in Miami Dolphins. It was cool that he was at the Tampa Bay Bucks event. And the reason why I really wanted to interview him was because a few, but one in particular was the fact that he was there and to bring attention of some of the awesome people that come to training camp. And that's why I was very, very happy he did the photo. And that was really cool of him to do that. In fact, let me go ahead and pull up that picture for you guys. So it was just a fantastic, nice sunny day, no rain. It was hot. And I will tell you another thing about being successful in life. If certain things you should know. That's the Bucks sign there. Props to the Bucks. And got to give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, go Bucks, got to give them their props. But this is the picture here with me and Drew Rosenhaus, man, right there. Literally, we were a foot apart. And that was, hey, I even asked him, hey, am I blocking you, with the camera stuff? And he said, no, I just wanted to make sure everybody was happy. That's Drew Rosenhaus, powerhouse agent. And, sometimes in life, things happen when you don't get an opportunity right then and there. The great thing is you might get another opportunity even later. And somebody had props on my brother, and he brought something to me that I didn't know about Drew Rosenhaus. As great as he is and a great agent, I did not know that, which I watched that movie several times, that one of the motivations and one of the creators behind Jerry Maguire was Drew Rosenhaus. So if I were to interview him now, a day after that event, I would even do an even better job, because I would have even more information to ask him. So props to Drew. Outstanding time at the Bucks training camp. Thank you to the people. There was a few people who recognized me at the camp, friends, and definitely that was really cool. That you go to Bucks training camp, people in the neighborhood, and they kind of recognize you, especially as military day. I did not come there, thinking that anybody was gonna somewhat recognize me. I didn't know for sure, because I'd never been there on military day. It was strictly for military, wasn't open for the public. And if you had to have some type of military background, which is really cool, and props to the military too. And that was awesome, and yeah, so it was a few people that recognized me there, and there was a couple people who said they saw me there, but they didn't get a chance to talk to me because I was on the move. So yes, it was my first day of camp. It's like your first day of school. You want to make sure you make a great impression there. And that was awesome. That was really, really awesome. And there were some other questions here that came up here. Who was there? Drew Rosenhaus was there. Shiloh was there. Some of my friends were there. People from the military was there. And all the players were there. It's beginning of the training camp, so no one technically has been cut yet, unfortunately. I mean, I'm not saying that like, but unfortunately, as you get closer to start games, that's unfortunate what happens. So there was a lot of guys on the field, and the stands were packed. Even with it being military day, it was packed. There was fans from all the way all around. And was I fully prepared? Yes, I was. I was fully prepared, and I was fully prepared. Meaning, I got to give props to the UFL. Me covering the UFL as many times I have, which is the XFL and UFL, which is going to be, let's see, the year two. This will be year 4. It prepared me well because, when you're with UFL, you're going out there, getting content, asking guys questions, going to, you're moving and shaking and baking, so to speak. You're getting an interview, doing a fantastic job, but then you're moving on to the next one. And that type of, always being ready, being prepared, helped me out. And this was, this was because, a lot of times when you're doing the UFL, they kind of let you know, like literally right before you do the interview, who's coming, or who do you expect when they're coming around the corner, so to speak. Going, oh yeah, A, B, and you don't have as much preparation time, so you got to be on your P's and Q's. And that the great thing is, the Bucks, they kind of let you know who to expect and who you're going to get ahead of time. So there wasn't that. But, even having that quick thing, you got to be prepared. And, the sound did come in a little low as far as when I did some of the interviews. That's not something of preparation or anything like that. Next time I'm out there, I'll make sure the sound is better for you guys. That's really not a preparation thing. That's more like a setup thing, so to speak. Anytime you do an event, and me doing media, the landscape and how the place is set up is a little different sometimes. And sometimes you may have to go there a time or two to kind of get the optimal video and optimal sound, because you just kind of know what works by trial and tribulation. Experience does help you. Sometimes you get on the first try, but sometimes you have to, kind of figure those things out. So next time, sound will be even better. But the good news is I'm going to play some of those sound bites to you right now.
He came to visit his son. He didn't come visit me. He strictly came to see Shiloh. I guarantee he didn't come to see me. Not that I don't like him, but, he's a father going to visit his son. Who would be proud to have his son found out that? How is that? He's come along and getting the schemes down. He's made plays like everybody else back there. And, the few tests that come up during the preseason. Tuesday night he's won. Preseason game and practice with the others. So he's got a chance to make it fun. Other different military agents about the 4 years. It's been great every year across the league. There's our military day, and you got the anthem and everything else. For those guys to come out and do what they do, it makes you understand that this isn't just a game. They were life and death. We're simply playing TV ratings and all that stuff. Win or lose, they're playing for life or death. So you appreciate that much more, and it makes your job easier.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Props to head coach Todd Bowles. If you didn't hear the questions, the first question was, hey, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders came through last week. What were your thoughts about him coming to visit you last week? And I should have been more specific. You meaning the Bucks. I really meant the Bucks per se, but that's okay. We got a good laugh out of it. Always a great thing. Nothing wrong with that. The second question was, how is Shiloh Sanders doing in camp? Props to the writers. I've noticed already 7, counted 7 media outlets took the sound bite of Coach and that question I asked, which was the second question I asked at camp, and they use it in their write-up. So that was really cool that 7 media outlets, I've seen it, 7 articles have used that question that I asked, the second question I asked Coach. And that was really cool. And let me just say here. Yes, so that was really cool that they used, 7 media outlets, 7 articles used it. And the second question, about Shiloh, and speaking of that, the gentleman put in about gambling. Here's sometimes where you don't want to gamble in life. The perfect example. I did speak to one of the people that was there, the media coordinators, and we kind of got the lowdown on how things work. Without giving you too many details, basically, I could have traded or gambled, so to speak, for pretty much guaranteed interviews, or gambled and kind of rolled my dice and got maybe 1, none, or whatever. I didn't take the gamble because it was my only time there, first time there. Not the only time, just saying first time there. One of many, because we're going to be back. The Allen Alford Sports Talk Show is going to be back several times. But I had a chance to take a gamble on rolling the dice and getting 1 or none or whatever, maybe multiple, or taking the 4 guaranteed. I went with the 4 guaranteed. And the risk would have been possibly going and trying to maybe get a Shiloh. So that was going to be the thing. I could have risked maybe getting the 1, which was Shiloh and a couple other players, versus the guaranteed. And I did not take that risk because, you just sometimes you don't want to gamble. You want to take, the bird that you got in your hand. And I didn't take the gamble. So it worked out even better. When God has something in your favor and he's looking out to bless you, you're going to get it. Because the second question I asked the coach got picked up on 7 news articles. The second question I asked. And it was about Shiloh Sanders. And the great thing about it is Shiloh has a good shot of making his team. He has a very good shot of making his team, is what the coach said, which is fantastic. And somebody had asked me, do I think he has a shot of making it? Yes, he does. He has a very good shot of making it, especially being on what the coach said. The coach said, as you heard in that soundbite, that he's picking up the scheme. He's doing great. There's a couple tests throughout preseason. One was a Tuesday night practice. Next are going to be the games. So if you're Shiloh Sanders, you're watching this, make sure you keep doing what you're doing. Ball out. There was a report that he signed autographs for an hour after camp. Keep doing things like that. Keep doing things like that. Keep doing your food critic reviews. Keep doing what you're doing. Do not change anything that is working, because doing my research, usually if you're in a third team, it said that you don't have the best shot of making a team. But hearing what coach said, you got a very good shot if you're Shiloh Sanders making his team. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep balling out. Keep a positive attitude. Keep signing those autographs. Keep doing those food critic reviews. Keep doing what you're doing. and ball out in those games, ball out in the camp. But just hearing your coach say that you have a chance of making a team, I'm so glad I asked that question. And when I go out there again the next time, I'll interview Shiloh. That was somebody that I really wanted to interview. It just didn't play itself out the first time, but there'll be always another time. So, that's definitely what happened. Remember, when you get media credential, you are a guest in somebody else's home, and you don't want to kind of bite the hand that feeds you. You want to make sure you're cool, and that's what I made sure I did. So I'm looking to come back to the Bucks for sure, and do some more media for them for sure. And yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. I definitely think the preparation helped me a lot. And one thing that also helps me, I think I have a competitive advantage is that I've been in corporate America for about 30 years. When you are in the NFL or doing media, it is a lot of politics, and kind of got to navigate through corporate America. That's just how it is. I didn't think it was going to be to this extreme or this degree, but it is. So I have that experience too, that corporate America experience. I've been in corporate America sales for a long time, very successful at that. So I have that down pat too. So God is amazing. He never put you in places where he doesn't feel like you're going to do well. Did my experience from covering other venues help? Absolutely. Would I returning to cover another Buccaneers camp? Most definitely. It was a fantastic experience. Let me play some of those other quick interviews there. And being prepared makes a big difference.
Absolutely. I mean, I've heard his voice every single time he's brought it up. And then since he won it, their warm-up song, their team was warming up to for the Super Bowl, that's been the first song in my playlist. Every time I'm warming up, I'm listening to it, and it's just getting me ready to get to that spot. Two more. It's not too much pressure, I mean, it's the name of the game, It's what I wake up and think about. It's what I go to sleep thinking about. So to me, it's just an opportunity to work on my craft and to elevate to another level. But it's not too much pressure, because I already put so much pressure on myself to just be the best version of me. Everybody else, I don't really worry about all that.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, just being prepared. The thing about Zion, the cool thing about him is, which was interesting, is that he has a twin brother, Tristan McCullum, and identical twin too. And his brother won a ring last season with the Eagles. So that was just a question I asked, brotherly love. Hey, the fact that your brother got a ring last year, how did it go? Like, how was the conversation? Just like, if your brother got a ring and you didn't, and you both playing in the league, both of them are playing in the league, which I think a lot of people don't realize. You got a twin brother that plays in the league, and he plays for the Eagles and won a ring last season. So that was cool that I knew that fact, and I asked him that. And, being a cornerback is one of the toughest positions to play in the NFL, because you got to cover wide receivers. It's an offensive, centric league. There's nothing wrong with that. They want to score points. People want to see points, but you got to cover those receivers. And I asked him, if that's a lot of pressure. The second question was, is that a lot of pressure on you? You got to be back there covering, some of the best receivers in the league. And it's tough because, they don't want you to just kind of knock down the balls. They want you to kind of pick them off. And if a quarterback throws the ball at the right spot and you're a great receiver, it shouldn't be that easy for you to intercept it. Maybe you could stick your hand in there. You can knock the ball loose. But picking it off, you have to either know the route and kind of have to use your instincts because you have to kind of get in front of the receiver. So in order for you to intercept it, so that's a tough position, and that's a tough position he's in. And it was awesome. It really was awesome. This is another picture here, right in the front. That's just a great looking facility too. The Bucks. I very thank you to the Tampa Bay Bucks for allowing me to cover for the first time. It's not an easy feat at all, and I definitely don't take it for granted. And let me go ahead and show you.
I mean, it's just crazy to think about, obviously, but I don't know. It's like I'm in year 4. I know it. Yeah, it's like I don't even think about it. I'm just blessed to still be here. The reality, I'm blessed to still be here. I'm blessed to be, like I tell you, healthy, especially as a running back, and be able to stick around and still just be a playmaker.
Think about it. Have most weight, looks like light on your feet. When you hear coach,
I'm gonna be honest, like nothing. I mean, I appreciate that, but it all don't matter until I go out there on Sunday and show it and things like that. So I appreciate compliments, but man, I'm just, like I said, happy and just ready to go out and play.
Yeah, I was asking him, year 4 in the league, year 4 for Rachaad White. Thank you for Rachaad White. Answer my question. Running back. Hey, how is it year 4? You're not a rookie, you're not a vet, but you're, year 4 in the league. And it is a contract year for Rachaad White too. So, he's definitely, he knows he's got a ball out. And he's healthy. He said he's healthy. He did come into camp with a little bit lighter. He said the 212, and he kind of likes to be at that weight. And the second question was, hey, coach did say some flattering things. He said, are you coming into camp a little bit lighter, quicker on your feet? Did that, how does that make you feel? He said, honestly, nothing. He's out there because he knows it all comes down to what you do on Sunday. Compliments are great, which is everybody loves to get compliments, but it all comes down to what you do on Sunday. Hopefully, I pray that Rachaad White stays healthy, has a big baller season, has a lot of fun, get a ring, and gets another contract because it is a contract year. I know that because some of the guys were asking that. They were asking that. Some of the other media was asking about him being a contract year. And yeah, so he's got a ball out there, and yes, and cannot forget Jamel Dean.
I always think back to that year and the team we had, and I compare this team. It's very similar, but I think we much more depth than that team.
personal goal for yourself that you want to achieve to go out there and be the best version of yourself?
I just want to be. I have to be more productive. That involves getting more interceptions. Keep use convert those interceptions and just create more turnover opportunities for myself.
Yeah, Jamel Dean, thank you. And yeah, that's one thing they, there's a lot of little gnats around there, but that's the thing, Jamel Dean, he also has to, as you mentioned, has to come out there and ball out. Everybody's got something to prove in the NFL. That's one thing about the NFL. It is a performance-driven league. It is a performance-driven atmosphere. That includes the players. That includes myself. That includes everybody connected to the NFL on the field, vendors, sponsors. Everybody is competing there. Everybody's being nice, but they all are vying for something. And Jamel Dean is no different. I did ask him. He's one of the few players that, believe it or not, on the team even though it felt like it hasn't been that long ago, but this is life in sports in the NFL. He's one of the few players that's are number one on the team still and has a Super Bowl ring back when Tom Brady got the ring. Yes, he is one of the players there. I said, how does it make you feel that you got a ring coming into camp? Well, the players, they don't. And some, but, he thinks that this team could be just good, if not even better than that team. So that was really encouraging. But yeah, he's one of it doesn't even seem that long ago when Tom Brady got a ring. And that's how fast things move in the NFL and in life, and I worked in corporate America. Believe it or not, it's similar, probably not close to the NFL, as close, but it's not that far off. A year or two or three or four in corporate America feels like a long time because things change and people leave, people come in, people go. And that's how it is. So you got to take advantage of the opportunities that are right in front of you, right at your feet. But yeah, props to Tampa Bay Bucks, and really appreciate this, and I appreciate the fact that it came to light that even people who have other podcasts and other shows, they look at me as inspiration, and that is something that I didn't know till I got this opportunity, and yeah, that's something that I take a lot of maturity and pride in. At the same token, like, we're gonna keep moving forward together, and stay positive in life. Stay positive. Don't let the haters get you down. Keep moving forward. Keep dreaming big, and believe you can do it. If you don't get an opportunity, don't get bitter. Get better. Don't get bitter. Get better. How can I get better? How can I get a little bit better? Just think of that every day. And if you're realistic with yourself and you're honest with yourself, there usually will be something or some things that you can do a little bit better, and just keep working on those, progressing, and you'll get there. You'll get there. And then, yes, so props to the NFL, props to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In fact, let me put that on there. Thank you, Tampa Bay Bucks. Yep, you got that in the background. I see right there. So, props to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really appreciate it. First of many. I'm speaking into existence. I will be back. I will be doing a lot more of the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I look forward to seeing everyone there again, and multiple times. We're gonna win a ring together. There you go. We're gonna win a ring together. That's right. That's right. And definitely, that's what we're looking to do. And what we're gonna do is switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit of baseball here. A little bit of baseball. This week and the last couple weeks has been like fantastic. Thank you to all the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show fans. You guys make these things possible, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Cooperstown. There you go. Congratulations to all the inductees: Dave Parker, Dick Allen, CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner, Ichiro Suzuki. And I'm going to talk about that. And yes, that was another first-class time and event. All thanks to you guys and your fans and support. Wow, what a great time. Cooperstown Baseball Hall of Fame weekend, to me, is magical during that weekend. It is a magical time because you could come out there and have such a fantastic time. It's one of those areas where it's not like Miami. It's not like where I'm from, not Miami, from Brooklyn, New York. It's not like Miami or Brooklyn, New York, or a big city. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and that's my hometown. And the reason why I say Miami, because I live in Florida now. But it's not a city like that where you can get lost in a shuffle. It's so many people, so much moving around. Cooperstown is a very, very small town, small area. and you're kind of secluded from everybody. It takes a lot of winding roads in the woods, no street lights, by the way, very few street lights, I'll say, but a lot of times you're driving in the woods, and if you're going to Cooperstown, let me just say it right there, make sure your tires are on point, make sure your car works great, make sure you don't have any adult beverages too, because there is a lot of long stretches, talking 30, 40 miles of winding roads, dark, late at night, very narrow, and no street lights in a lot of those areas. So if you're not on your game, if you're driving too fast, playing games, you don't have any of those, unfortunately, you can end up making friends with the woods. And you don't want to make friends in the woods going up hills and stuff like that, because I don't know. And if you get stuck out there, you just don't want those headaches. You don't want those headaches. CC Sabathia broke down on there. He put it on Twitter. And luckily for him, it was during the day, one of those real tight spots. But yeah, you want to make sure your car is with good tip-top shape. Just want to make sure you do that, but the good news is once you get there, it's magical. And the reason why I bring it up that it's a small area, there's not a lot of place you can kind of hang out and dip out. There really isn't. There really isn't, unless you go stay in your room, of course, stay in your hotel, or stay at a friend's house. But if you go out, there's not a ton of things to do. So keep your eyes open. When I showed up there and did a video, the introductory video right outside the museum, a few of the people already told me George Brett, he was inside. So, you just got to keep your eyes open. And several times I've been there, just running into somebody getting something to eat and just walking around town. You just have to keep your eyes open, because there will be somebody you'll probably run into, family or friend, or somebody getting inducted. So it is really, really cool. And it was a fantastic thank you to the National Baseball Hall of Fame for allowing the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show to cover the event now 3 years in a row. And it was fantastic. It was fantastic. And let me go into some of the details of what I saw and what happened. First thing is, they had the Thursday night, which was an event for media where they had, they gave us they had some of the Hall of Famers there. Let me just show it to you. In fact, this is the best thing to do.
Yes, sir. This is Alan from the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. So since we have our first Japanese player going into Hall of Fame, can you each talk about Ichiro Suzuki as a person, as a player, and your thoughts about him going to be the first Hall of Famer from Japan?
Go.
You guys actually, you played against him a lot more than I did. I just played against him.
I only crossed over with Ichiro 2001, I think. I got my locker was next to him at the All-Star game in Seattle, which I thought was really cool. He asked for my jersey, so I took it off and gave it to him. I was honored for that. But playing against him, it was just amazing. But it dawned on me when you were talking that the difference in 86 and 96. So, when you're there, everybody was for the team in Japan. Nobody did anything that would separate themselves, like, to say, look what I did and all that kind of stuff. And so it was all very respectful, calm, and it was all for the team. And then we go back in 96, and I think we made the last out of the first inning, fly ball to center field. Ichiro catches it. He snatches it like this and starts running and puts it along the stands, and people go crazy. And I'm thinking, wow, something's changed in 10 years. So the individual started to be celebrated a little bit more, and maybe that opened up the trying new things. And it's not all like baseball is a really hard game, and hitting, I would say that nobody really hits exactly the same. We all take certain fundamentals and apply your individual talent to it. Same with defense. And I think in some ways, when you start to grab that individual talent and then try to see what that can do within the mechanical side of the game, then you really get something. So I thought it was funny. The other remembrance I had in that series was, I think Ichiro went 3-0 leading off the game. And then he swung 3-0, hit a bullet up the middle for a hit, same sort of reaction that everybody reacted to him. And I thought that was fantastic. Yeah.
Did you pitch to him, Jeff?
Yeah, I never did pitch to him. And while he was going through his incredible career, I had to ask myself, because it's the competitiveness in all of us athletes, what do you think, Jack? Could you get him up? And the answer kept coming back not in my favor. I always said, and I always will say, the hardest guys for pitchers like me, probably like Nomo and everybody else that ever stepped on the mound, is contact hitters are difficult outs. And Ichiro was a premier contact hitter. It didn't matter if he was already out of the box swinging, throwing his bat at it. He somehow barreled the ball up. And that would have been a hard at bat for me to try to get a guy like him out. I didn't realize until I watched him a lot how fast he was, what a great arm he had. His defense was, you want him out there behind you if you're on the mound. So, I took my hat to him. This guy, he could do it all, and he did it for a long, long time. And the number of hits he got, it's pretty remarkable. So I would have to say he'd win the war against me. I'd have to try to pitch to the next guy and hope he clogs up the bases.
Let me say that when I look at Ichiro and try and figure out how I would defense him or who I would compare him to, and I would certainly compare him to Tony Gwynn with his ability to hit the ball all over the ballpark, and he's a multi-dimensional player. Can do everything, and as I said earlier, I think that's what has made them so much better. They're very well-rounded players, and he's very deserving to be here.
Quickly, yeah. I went to Japan to manage in '95. That was the year that Nomo came over here, and that was the year after Ichiro was the Rookie of the Year, the MVP for the Oryx Blue Wave in '94. And I went to spring training. Actually, I had the team come to Arizona for spring training for 3 weeks because I was the American. I wanted the team to come over. And every night, all of the coaches got together and looked at video and looked at charts and figured out things on one guy, on Ichiro, on this phenomenal person that we were going to face on opening day. And it turned out right after the Kobe earthquake. It was after that happening in Japan. Anyway, he played for a year. He showed me what he could do. I asked him for an autographed bat and told him that he was one of the best players I ever saw. And then as things went fast forward, I was managing and he became a free agent, and I was in New York and I was trying to convince my people that we needed to sign him. He's the guy we needed. He was the best outfielder I ever saw. He was the fastest runner down the first that I had. He had the best contact, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. And I was told at the end of the day that they didn't want a singles hitter in the outfield. And I said, what if he got 200 of them? I swear. And he got 240 of them. He's just, in my mind, he's a genius. I have geniuses sitting next to me, but they're the Mozarts amongst all of the concert pianists. They write the music, not only play it, and that's what he does. He's an absolute, or was when he played. I think he can still play. Was a genius.
And I just want to add from a totally different standpoint that his respect and understanding of the history of baseball, you just don't see players come to the Hall of Fame while they're actively playing in the wintertime 7-8 times because they just want to touch the bat of the guy whose record they broke, or be here in the freezing cold and snow to see this place. And the amount of artifacts he's donated throughout his career that allowed us to create the exhibit upstairs that you're going to see you just don't see people who do that. And I think from our standpoint, from a Hall of Fame standpoint, we're just so grateful that he cares so much about the history of the game, not just in his home country, but here in the United States. It's really what the Trans-Pacific Exchange of Baseball is all about.
That's just watching that again, it's just, man, it just brings chills because that was a private event that the museum did for the media, and man, to have that in their movie theater, and those gentlemen talk about Ichiro Suzuki, which I'm going to talk about his speech here. And Ichiro's speech to me was one of the best speeches. It was magnificent. One of the best speeches that I have seen in a Hall of Fame speech. I just have to call it the way it is. Definitely, it's up there. And the crazy thing about that speech was a few facts. Number one is that it was done in his second language of English, and he delivered that speech perfectly. It had the right balance of seriousness, joking, and it just brought to light another side of him. One thing too that was magnificent was he said in his speech that somebody told him, don't embarrass the country. Just imagine you coming over to another country and somebody telling you, don't embarrass the country. He didn't say in his speech who said that, but I can almost guarantee you a few things about that. Number one, it's true. Like, I could see somebody from Japan or somebody saying that to him because they take their country, and not that we don't take our country seriously, but I feel in certain countries like Japan and China, in certain countries, it's even another level of seriousness. I can almost guarantee you, it never said who it was or what it was. I guarantee that person who said it not only was Japanese, but it was a person probably way up there, probably a diplomat, somebody who was way up there in statue, said that to Ichiro. Don't embarrass the country. And I can see it. And just a phenomenal speech, the way he delivered it. One of the facts that came to me a couple days after he made that speech was from Orestes Destrade, who was at the Tampa Bay Baseball Museum. And I got a chance to talk to him, and he gave me a lot of insight, which I'm going to talk more about that event a bit later. He even said, because the language is very similar, Japanese and Spanish, and because he played with Ichiro, and he knows Ichiro, that Ichiro could have delivered that speech in Spanish if he wanted to. And he may have even did just as good or even better in Spanish. That's just fantastic. That's another fact that came out. So props to Ichiro, because he said, that sign that you see there, Yaku, it's pronounced Yaku, the U sound. And they use a lot of I-E-I-O-U, like the U sound in Japan is very similar to the U sounds in Spanish. And he even said that people who go to Japan that are from Latin descent usually do better in Japan and vice versa, because they can learn the language a little bit easier because of their background. And usually somebody who's like myself, American, if he has to go to Japan or Latin America to play baseball, it's usually a lot harder for them because learning language is much, much more difficult in that situation. And plus, you're far more homesick. Not that you won't be homesick the other way, but being that you can assimilate with the language and the people and the culture, because it's not radically different, those situations you end up doing a little bit better. And that's why he did explain why you have a lot more Latin players playing here in the States than you do American. And that was a very interesting thought, that because of that. So, that speech that Ichiro made was outstanding speech. I was able to watch all of the speeches. Let me just take a look here. I did watch Miss Allen's speech, CeCe's, Billy Wagner's, and Ichiro's. I did not, Dave Parker's speech, I didn't get a chance to watch the entire speech, but out of the four that I did watch, these four here, Dick Allen, CeCe, Billy Wagner, and Ichiro, yeah, it's going to be tough to top Ichiro. I'm going to, yes, sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. Yes, so yeah. So yeah, his speech was just fantastic. Ichiro, and props to him. Well deserved. The guy is a genius. The guy is a genius, and you know, he kept. You could even see when watching the speech, the people in the background, they were engaged. You could tell they were look, listen to every single word he said, and he delivered it magnificently. So props to all inductees. Congratulations to all inductees. All had a very, very, very great speech, but each rose was just, it's hard to top that, man. The second language is 101. And thank you to the National Baseball Hall of Fame right there for allowing the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show to cover Hall of Fame weekend for a third time in a row. And it's the fourth time I've been there. So I did want to say that I did have a wedding to go to on Sunday. So the speeches that I did watch, I did have to watch them on YouTube. The reason being is because I had a wedding to be to on Sunday. And I had to basically, I did the Friday night show live there at, the Clark Sports Center. And then I had to leave basically that Friday night. I could not stick around for Saturday and Sunday. It's the first time the first time that I've been there, I had to kind of leave early, going to Cooperstown, period. But I'm not one to kind of cancel on people on weddings. I just can't say no to someone inviting me to a wedding. Not that I get invited to a whole ton of them, but I do understand the importance of a wedding. Meaning, if you show up to a wedding, it can be in most cases, of course, you never know in life, but in most cases, it could be the one and only time, and hopefully, it is that you watch that person get married, and it's pretty much like a finale. If you don't go, that's pretty much a wrap. And I just can't really come to grips to saying no to a wedding. Next year, I'm looking forward to coming back to cover Cooperstown again. Yeah, that's what I just love to do. I love the area, love covering Cooperstown, but I couldn't unfortunately be there those 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, because of me being at a wedding. So that's what happened. But I did watch 4 or 5 of those speeches. I did see part of Dave Parker's speech with his son. I wasn't able to watch the entire thing. I will though. But it was magnificent. And Cooperstown weekend is special. If you haven't been to Cooperstown, I definitely highly recommend you come out there and visit. Highly recommend that you go ahead and have yourself a weekend. And speaking of wedding, I would say that I'm sticking to that formula with not canceling anybody's wedding. It was a fantastic wedding. Congratulations to Candy and Jonathan. And definitely congratulations to you two. May you guys both have a blissful marriage. Well, thank you again for the invite. That was fantastic. And, the reason why there was one time I got an invitation to be at Nebraska for Warren Buffett. I did do that invitation. I did take it, multiple years. And then, unfortunately, I could not go because I had a conflict of a wedding. And it ended up being the most fabulous wedding I've ever went to. And it's the only time, this is the reason why I don't usually like to cancel weddings. It was an Oriental wedding. It was the first and only Oriental wedding that I've been invited to and attended. And man, was it magnificent. And it was my college good friend. He was from China. Never got invited to a Chinese wedding. And I went. It was magnificent. It was magnificent. I was I think the only person, if I recall, that was not Chinese there. And man, I had a fantastic time. It was wonderful. And it was the most extravagant wedding I've ever been to. I thought me and my wife had an extravagant wedding and it blew that one away. It was just magnificent in so many ways. So, yes, I did have to attend a wedding. So I apologize. I couldn't be there for the entire weekend, but props. It was awesome. I did get a chance to, let me just show you, interview some great people there. Bobby Valentine, he's a character, man.
Joe, joined with Josh Rightwich. So we're doing the Yaku. Tell us about this event. Tell us about this exhibit and the vision behind it.
Well, obviously, we knew a couple of years ago that Ichiro was likely to be the first baseball player from Japan ever inducted into the Hall of Fame. And we wanted to make sure that as part of that, we also told the larger story of the way the exchange of baseball has come for so many years between these two countries. So we put together the most interactive, most engaging exhibit we've ever done here at the Hall of Fame. And honestly, it's already been a huge success in just the short time it's been open.
Yes, and the exhibit itself, talk about the vision to create the exhibit. Who gets credit for that?
Well, it really was an incredible team effort. I mean, we've got a whole museum affairs team that came up with the themes and the concepts. We actually worked with an outside design firm named Solid Light, which we've never done before, but you can see it's such a colorful, incredible exhibit. We had curators and librarians and researchers and design people all involved in this. It's dozens of people, so it's never about one person. It's really about a team effort, and I think there's so many people that helped us. We incorporated a lot of people from Japan to also help us, and as you walk around and get a chance to see it, you can really feel everybody's efforts.
Yes, and for those who don't know, you're the CEO of the Baseball Hall of Fame. How cool is it to be the CEO?
I don't know that anybody on the planet could ever imagine that's what they'd get to do, but I have the incredible benefit of working alongside all these great people, dealing with all the Hall of Famers. We have 77 living Hall of Famers, and 55 of them are going to be back for Hall of Fame weekend. So it just tells you how much this place means to so many people. It's just one of the most special places on the planet, and I'm very honored to work here.
And with the Hall of Fame, it always evolves, it changes. Talk about the fact that you have a passion to, it was the Souls of the Game a couple years ago. Now it's Yakyu. Talk about changing every year.
Well, one of our main goals is to stay relevant for the next generation of fans. And so we know that my dad and maybe people's grandparents are going to come and they're going to have an amazing time. We want them to really, the next generation, the 12-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, to be able to come here and have that same experience. And that's why you see so many great things here that are interactive, video games and touch screens and social media, all that stuff. So for us, it is about evolving, and Souls of the Game was a huge step in that direction. And every time we do a new exhibit, we're just going to keep doing it better.
And finally, players who do the speech, they tell me that they get nervous with doing a speech. Is there any advice you can give to a Hall of Famer who's going to be inducted about making their speech?
Well, earlier today, I got to sit in with a few of them as they rehearse their speeches, and we just tell them, listen, you guys have been on the biggest stages ever. You know how to deal with pressure. So when it hits you, you take a deep breath, and then you take a good swing. And every one of these guys is going to be fantastic on Sunday. We have the widow of a Hall of Famer speaking. We have the son of a Hall of Famer. Neither one of them are here with us, but all 5 speeches are going to be fantastic, and we hope fans just eat it up on Sunday.
I'm sure they will. I know I will. Thank you so much, Josh. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank
Alan.
you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's the thing. That was really, really awesome for the CEO of the Baseball Hall of Fame to come out there to the exhibit and do that interview. It was that exhibit. You guys got to go see it. Yaku. Yes, there you go. And I had to practice a little bit to pronounce it, but yeah, that was just a fantastic thing. And that interview too, and you heard that little crash at the end, just like a kid, somebody breaking something in the background, and he's a CEO, and you could hear it. Fortunately for me, it was at the very end of the interview, and it didn't. We were just wrapping it up, but I was glad that crash happened at the end of the interview, not in the middle, because you could tell, like a little kid, he was diverted by that crash in the background. Luckily, it wasn't anything serious because he is the CEO of the museum. It is a museum. They have exhibits, artifacts, things in there are very expensive, and those things are in there priceless too. Luckily, it wasn't anything expensive. But yeah, for a Hall of Famer making a speech, my advice would be very similar, to the CEO's speech, and that is just relax. Make sure you thank the people that helped you get there, that are important to you. Tell a nice story, add a little, like kind of like what Ichiro did, add a little humor in there, put a little seriousness, and make sure you thank those people that meant something to you. And just relax and just be yourself. Be yourself. That's another thing. Be true to who you are. Be yourself. Let your personality show. And as long as you do that, you're gonna do fine. That's the best thing to do. Ichiro, he was himself when he did his speech. He had a nice little parts in it that had humor, but it was serious too. And if you want to be a Hall of Famer, man, just keep working hard at it. Learn every day. You don't lose, you learn, and you'll get there. You'll get there. That was an outstanding interview, and that was really, really a great time to go ahead and see that event. I definitely do think you guys need to go out there and see it yourself. And the nice thing about the Hall of Fame is, like he said, it always changes. It always changes, and it won't. So nice thing is you can go there multiple times, like myself. And Josh Warwich did a fantastic job. I thank you for that interview. That was great. The CEO of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. I never got a chance to interview him till that day. So till the event, and then let me go ahead and show you real quick Bobby Valentine.
So it came to fruition that you were the person that brought autographs from Japan and also running the bases. Talk about that.
Well, a fan-friendly environment is what I tried to create there, where the players see it. They always had and have fencing all around the stadium, and that wasn't to protect them necessarily, because of the sidelines, the foul ball territory, the fences were 70, 80 feet back, not like the fences here that are close. So I tried to open up the fences. I even took down some fences so that there could be a more fan-player relationship. I think they liked that a lot. But, they also liked that I embraced their culture. I ate their food, tried to speak the language, understood their players, and tried to make their players as good as they could possibly be. And I think that was appreciated there.
And you speak, Japanese very fluently. How long did it take you to go ahead and learn the language?
Well, it's difficult to learn the language, as they say. Japanese is very difficult. 日本語がなかなか難しいですね. And, it's just one of those things where if you use it, you won't lose it. And I keep trying to use it.
That's awesome. And what culturally do Japanese players do differently, maybe better or the same than American players?
Well, when I got the job, the guy who hired me, Hiroka-san, who's in this museum as a great baseball player, manager, and general manager, said, hey, whatever you do when you get hired, don't tell our players that you only have 2 rules: to show up and hustle. Because at the time, a major league manager would get hired and he would just say, oh, I only have 2 rules: show up and hustle all the time. And Hiroka-san thought that would be insulting, because Japanese players always come on time and they always hustle. So, there's a different thing there.
Yes. And speaking of that, we have Ichiro coming in first ballot Hall of Famer from Japan, first Japanese Hall of Famer here in a baseball Hall of Fame. What are your thoughts about Ichiro going in first?
Well, he's deserving. He's a genius. He's one of the best players to ever play the game of baseball. Defensively, on the bases, he could bunt, he could hit home runs. He didn't think that his job was to hit home runs. He thought that his job in the lineup was to get hits and get on base. If someone told him during his playing days, listen, we want to pay you what we're paying you, we want you to hit more home runs, he would hit more home runs because he was one of the greatest to ever play.
Yes, you're right about that. He's phenomenal talent. And if somebody wants to be like yourself, travel the world, go to Japan, and maybe find an opportunity there, what would you tell them?
Well, I don't know about opportunities because, it's a long ways away, but it's a wonderful place to visit. During baseball season, they have high school tournaments that knock your socks off. They have Major League Baseball all around, and everyone loves the game of baseball, and they love foreign people who come to their country who like baseball too.
So you will be embraced there.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Really appreciate you. National treasure.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. You are. Thank you.
That is a national treasure, Bobby Valentine, man. I was in an interview, and believe it or not, he's from Japan. I mean, he's not from Japan. He lived here in the States, and he went to Japan and played in Japan, and I should say managed in Japan. But man, that's not easy to do, to go to Japan and learn the language, and he speaks it fluently. And Ichiro being the first, first of many, but that's fantastic interview there. And props to Bobby Valentine. Props to the National Baseball Hall of Fame for allowing the Atlanta Alford Sports Talk Show to cover such a wonderful, wonderful time and event. Can't thank you guys enough. Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to make sure I thanked was the Tampa Baseball Museum as well. One Brick at a Time event. Right there. One Brick at a Time event. That was a outstanding event. Yes, that was great times there. Great times. And let me go ahead and that was a wonderful event as well. Tampa Baseball Museum. If you're here locally, if you can't go to Cooperstown, go right there to Tampa Baseball Museum. A lot of history, a lot of great things to see. You won't be disappointed. I mean, it's not as large and vast as the one in Cooperstown, but hey, it's supporting the local community. Definitely something you should go ahead and do. And let me switch gears here and talk a little bit about the UFL. I know some people are dying to hear about this. And the UFL news, boy, where do I get started? It's like this week or so has been a lot. First, they're talking about getting the rumor mill, not even so much the rumor mill. I wouldn't even say it's really a rumor mill because it's caught a lot of steam. And usually when it's been like that, it has some truth to it. It has some truth to it. And what the rumor is that they're thinking about getting rid of 4 teams and moving them, I should say, moving the teams. The teams that are allegedly going to be moved from, according to James Larson, is the Memphis Showboats, the Birmingham Stallions, the Houston Roughnecks, and the Michigan Panthers. Those are the teams that are allegedly are going to be moved, and the team that the places they're thinking about bringing in is Idaho, Kentucky, Orlando, and let me see, what was the other location? I'll pull that one up here. Yeah, but that's That's a lot right there. And that's a lot right there. Right off the bat. Yeah. Columbus. There you go. Boise, Columbus, Orlando, Kentucky, likely Louisville, Lexington, and Idaho. I mean, I just think if this has some legs to it, which I believe it does, I just think it's too radical of a move. I just think, okay, I can understand Memphis. Rest in peace to Fred Smith. They had a lot of, for those who don't know, Fred Smith is the founder and CEO. He's no longer he stepped down from the CEO, but he was the chairman of the board, founder of FedEx, multi-billionaire, who was funding a lot of the Memphis showboats to keep them in Memphis. Unfortunately, may he rest in peace, Fred Smith. He did pass away, so there's a big question mark there. And then we have also, not only that, then we also do have here, Fred Smith, unfortunately, may he pass, rest in peace. You also have the Houston Roughnecks. So those two teams were, consistently, as far as attendance, on the lower scale of those four teams. They were the two lowest of the league, I would say, also. But to me, these moves don't make a lot of sense because the Orlando move doesn't make a lot of sense to me either, because you had a team in Orlando. You seen what the attendance was. It wasn't great, to say the least. And to come back to that area, to me, just doesn't really make a lot of sense. But the good news is they have new ownership here. They have a new owner, and let me just take a look here and give you some more details on that as well. Yes, Mike Rapole, and a billionaire entrepreneur. He joins the existing ownership group, which includes Redbird Capital Partners, Fox, ESPN, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Danny Garcia. Rapole, known for his co-founding companies like Vitamin Water and Body Armor, will lead the league's business operations. Let me just see here. Rapole's investment is part of the strategic move of the UFL to expand its reach and potentially relocate some teams. So, I'm telling you, it's not really rumor. It says it right there. He plans to oversee market changes and expansion with a goal of eventually growing the league to 16 teams. According to Sports Illustrated, one immediate change is the relocation of a team to Columbus, Ohio, for the 2026 season. Rapole also indicated that there are at least two existing teams that will be relocated with the possibility of up to four. So you connect the dots. It's not really a rumor. It's just a matter of some teams are getting relocated. And it sounded like he's going to take it on the chin. He said, if it doesn't work out. So, Mark Rapole. And if I did get the wrong pronunciation, I'd probably get pardoned on that. Yeah, so it's not really a rumor. They're going to relocate up to four teams. This is saying right there, at least two. And I think at least those two. I would suggest not even thinking about Orlando. That's just my opinion. Did it before. If you get a new uniform, new name, I don't see that really changing much. I just, man, that's ground shaking news, because they got a new owner and it builds more questions. Number one, obviously, which teams are relocating. Number two, where you're going to relocate them to. Number three, now that you have a new owner and he's going to be in charge of this as there too. How is that going to affect the other owners of the league, particularly Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Is he going to kind of keep drifting and fading away? Is he going to come back, be more involved? I'm not sure, because that means when you take on another owner, everybody that is already an owner, you get a smaller percentage of the pie. And that pie has not been obviously making any money as of yet. So a lot of questions over there at the UFL. I pray that it all works out, and I definitely see some value in the UFL. I really do. I think players get an opportunity, coaches, even myself, just covering the UFL. It prepared me for Thursday, So I definitely do see a lot of value in the league. This is definitely a shakeup. I'm getting a lot of things for fans. If they relocate, talking about Birmingham Stallion fans, I'm not following the league. I've heard a lot of that. So it's like addition and subtraction. You're going to maybe get new markets, new areas, but also you're going to lose some fans too, because the Birmingham Stallions were, I would say, more closer to the middle as far as the attendance so far. You had won 3 championships. This was the first year they wasn't in a championship game, but the Michigan Panthers was one of the teams that's on the legend chopping block, did make it to the championship game, and they were actually on the rise of attendance. They were actually did a lot better this year. So let me just take a look here. Cheap views on steamboo.com. Remove the space. Cheap viewers on steamboo.com. Cheap viewers on steamview.com. Steamboo.com. Yes. Yeah, so there's a lot of shaking up going there in the UFL. I just pray it all works out. I am a supporter of the UFL. I see a lot of value in it. I think this move is very radical, and it's a roll of a dice. It could work great, and it also could be like the last hurrah, because, again, what I'm hearing from the fans, a lot of them are upset, particularly the Stallion fans and the Michigan fans. I've heard a lot from them. I haven't really heard too much from Michigan Panthers, Houston Roughnecks, I'd say, Houston Roughneck fans and Memphis fans. And I think they kind of knew they were already at the bottom of the barrel. So it was kind of like me with, I've been there, done that, when the Orlando Guardians, when they were like, we wasn't sure if they're going to stay or go with them. I was like, I cover the Guardians, and I said it flat out right here on the Allen Alford Sports Talk show. I do not think, as much as it's going to hurt me, as much as I want them to stick around and stay, I do not think, and it's more for my benefit. I was honest with my fans and my viewers. I do not think the Orlando Guardians were going to survive the merger. And lo and behold, they did not. And I told you here first, even with it being to my benefit, they did not survive. So I can kind of understand where the Memphis fans are coming from. Yeah, don't come back to Orlando. I'm just going to say that's going to be, you can send me a check later, for that advice. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, you did it in Orlando. Just getting a new uniform, a new shakeup is not going to pour fans in there. Let me just tell you, in Orlando, you have Disney, all of the Disney parks, Islands of Adventure. You have Adventure Island. They have a new water park there. Let me just go down the list. Let me just go down this list here. It's just ridiculous. Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando Resort, SeaWorld, Disney Cove. Discovery Cove. Discovery Cove. That was the new water park I was thinking of Discovery Cove, Disney Springs, Icon Park, Kennedy Space Center, Gatorland, the Orlando Science Center, Wonderworks, Legoland, not to mention all the foods, the restaurants, all of those things that you have. It's just not the right market for a UFL team. Plus, when you have a UFL game, you got to be in the sun. There's just too many. It's a real tourist area, and there's so much competition you have to deal with. Of all these things that you have just listed there, and then there's some more that are not even on this list. Madame Tussauds Orlando. You go to Titanic Museum. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You sitting out in the sun watching a UFL game, because that's another thing. The Orlando Camp World Stadium is not inside. It's outdoors. And usually when they had the games, they unfortunately had the fans and the sunny side. They did move them to the other side. It took a whole season, but it's just not the market for a UFL team. I'm sorry. I know the NFL does great when they have the Pro Bowl here, but that's what all the best of the best and the NFL. The NFL, the rules are different. They don't apply. The UFL is just, to me, not the right market in Orlando for it. You have to go to a place. This is where you ideally want to go. Kind of like the Battlehawks. You have to do some market research. First and foremost, do some market research. Where would they really want us? If you're the UFL, where do you really want us? Meaning, if we had a team here, a professional football team, that you are kind of desperate for a professional team, and you would come out and support. You kind of, I hate to say it like that, but you kind of need that type of situation. Come out, support, and would come out there for not just one game, but come out there regularly. Season tickets, their friends come. That's what you need. That's what you need. You do that, kind of like the Battlehawks, you'll be fine. Outside of that, I don't think so. That's what the UFL needs. They need to get markets like that. If they do that, they'll be in great shape. But if you don't, you're just going to lose more money and unfortunately lose an opportunity you have to keep spring football alive and kicking. But having said that, I'm really blessed because of you guys, the fans. Really appreciate all of your likes, comments, support for the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show and beyond. You guys are fantastic. I tremendously appreciate you all. Another person I tremendously appreciate is this guy right here, Sam Scola Songs. He is a songwriter for the intro and the outro. The nice thing is, thank you to songwriter Sam Scola Songs and his wife, Mary. Great thing about the music here is you can find these songs. Sam Scola Songs are available on YouTube and Spotify. Check it out right there, YouTube and Spotify. And this is something we're going to give you here on the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. That's his email, singalongwithsam@gmail.com. Singalongwithsam@gmail.com. Don't spam the man. Give him an opportunity. That's right. Sing along with Sam. If you have a big record deal, need some music, reach out to Sam Scola Songs. Outside of that, no spam. Sing along with Sam@gmail.com. And let me show you that poster too. There you go. Man, it's a big time songwriter. Really appreciate Sam Scola Songs. So thank you so much for being our songwriter there. And that is fantastic. Thank you guys also for watching another fantastic episode of the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. It has been an absolute pleasure having this show with you guys. Make sure you visit the website, AllenAlfordSportsTalkShow.com. 503 is the number, folks. 503 interviews, all because of you guys. Really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to YouTube at Allen Alford and the Facebook. Right there, Facebook at AllenAlfordSportsTalkShow.com. And Instagram is Allen Alford _ X is Alan Alford. You type in Alan, ALAN, ALFORD. You'll be able to find me. Thank you so much again for watching another great episode here of the Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. Let me just say something too here. And yes, that's fantastic. And then want to give a shout out to, and speaking of great fans there, and Andrea Denton, really appreciate you. And I definitely think the world of you, and I see you doing those great things of traveling. And I'm glad that you was able to find a puppy to replace. I know you had a tough time there with one of your great babies passing, but I'm glad that the smile is back on your face. You got another baby back there, another baby puppy, and I see you doing great. And keep up the great work there. And that is fantastic that you're back in the swing, back smiling again. And that's something that I've definitely noticed there. Glad you're smiling again. Glad to see you're traveling. And rest in peace to the former baby. But now you got new babies. Keep up the great work there. And really appreciate you. Really appreciate you tremendously. And I know we're going to cross paths again and run into each other once again. I can't wait. So looking forward to that. Props to Andrea Denton. Really appreciate you. Make sure you guys follow Andrea Denton too. Yep. A Denton 7788. A Denton 7788. So there you go. And yes, so definitely thank you again, all the fans of the Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. Really appreciate you. You guys make this opportunities possible. I don't take it lightly. And thank you again to the Tampa Bay Bucks, National Baseball Hall of Fame, Tampa Baseball Hall of Fame, Tampa Baseball, and Al Lopez. Really appreciate you. And so I'll be back again next Friday. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I'm looking forward to entertaining you guys. And definitely thank you again for watching another great episode of the Alan Alford Sports Talk Show. You guys are fantastic. Till we see each other again, be blessed, be well. Have a great weekend. Take good care of yourself.
It's the end of the show. Let's thank all the fans before we go. It's the end of the show. The Alan Alford Sports Talk Radio Show. Thanking our special guest. Thanking our sponsor. It's the end of the show. Tune in again for next week's show. It's the end of the show. Thanking our host before we go. It's the end of the show. It's the end of the show.